Welcome to another episode of Speed Hunters. This time we're launching a new section. Motorcycle thefts caught on camera. We start this video in Brazil. The filmer is riding a Triumph Street Triple with his friend, returning home after a pleasant ride. The friend on the CBR keeps looking back, reminding us that they're in a city where thousands of motorcycles are stolen every day, and that we should never let our guard down. Everything you're about to see today isn't uploaded for entertainment, but to raise your awareness and prepare you, because today, tomorrow, or the day after, you might ride out on a motorcycle without imagining that you could face a robbery. And when that happens, because yes, it can happen, every decision counts. Don't wait to be a victim to learn what to do. Pay attention. Remember each incident you're about to see and turn it into your reaction manual. Your safety, your motorcycle, even your life could depend on what you learn today. A moment later, our protagonist spots two suspects riding a Honda Titan behind him. The rest of you can imagine. Fortunately, his instinct was to turn around and flee in the opposite direction. Thankful they didn't fire. A good one for now, although we don't know anything about his friend in the CBR. Lesson: if your instinct is warning you and you're on alert, don't wait until they're right next to you to check if they're criminals or just honest bikers. Escape first. Something worth noting, our protagonist stops at a police station, something few people do, but which is always a positive thing. Buenos Aires, Argentina. Ash Raider, riding his CF Moto 800K, turns on his camera as he tries to help a friend on a Kawasaki who is approached by two criminals on a Ducati Multistrada. One of them aims to shoot him. The protagonist explains that since the criminals on the Ducati couldn't start his friend's Kawasaki, they returned to the group and ended up stealing his girlfriend's KTM 390. The situation wasn't difficult for the Kawasaki driver to avoid, although you do have to be very prepared. The criminals worked very well on the element of surprise. Using a high-end motorcycle to steal is very difficult to guess. He probably thought they were honest bikers until he saw the gun pointed at his side. The solution was to brake suddenly and make a 180-degree turn in reverse. The friends shouldn't have come back, since he, after handing over the Kawasaki, would have run into the countryside and gotten lost there. The friends could also have used the opposite route to escape and then come back for him. In short, remember these cases to learn what to do and what not to do. Buenos Aires, Argentina. A motorcyclist goes out to test the new camera he bought, unaware he was about to record his own viral robbery. Pay attention to the left rearview mirror. Two men on a 110 cubic centimeters motorcycle are watching him closely. Our protagonist on his Kawasaki KLR 650 notices them, but does nothing about it. They pass him. He still doesn't like what they're doing, but refuses to do anything about it. They move forward. The protagonist loses his concern about the suspects. It was possibly a false alarm. He lets his guard down and starts looking for somewhere to park. Suddenly,
¿Qué vas a tener, hijo de puta?
and that's it. The criminals stopped chasing him. Wow, so many emotions, so much adrenaline and helplessness. I'm sure there's a lot to say about this case, but to make it short, I'll save it for the next ones, and I want you to tell me what you would have done in this clip. Mexico. 4 men on a Yamaha FZ and an R15 are on the lookout for a victim. They find him, a man in his black BMW. They get behind him. The man never notices what's behind him. Suddenly, he attacks him, points a gun at the vehicle, and the Yamaha FZ also joins in the looting. Between the 4 of them, they rob him of his belongings. The first thing they steal is his helmet. Then they pull him out of his BMW. The men flee, unaware that everything was seen on the city's security cameras. With proper surveillance, they were able to arrest the 2 in the R15 who were carrying the gun. They then followed the man in the Yamaha FZ on camera until he parked and tried to flee. But at that precise moment, police came out of nowhere and arrested him. They only captured these 3 minors. The Yamahas were kidnapped, but the weapon wasn't real, so they weren't punished to the full extent of the law. We don't know anything about the stolen BMW. It was a very difficult case to avoid, but constantly checking your rearview mirrors and being able to spot details like several people and 2 motorcycles nearby could give you the opportunity to quickly distance yourself from the situation. One more detail: certain characteristics, like helmets without visors, are frequently used by criminals. Pay close attention to this and other aspects like clothing and lack of protection that give you the impression that they may not be honest bikers. Mexico. A man on a Yamaha R3 enters his property in broad daylight when suddenly he is attacked by 2 armed men. They steal everything: helmet, backpack, motorcycle. Next time you enter your house without taking the necessary precautions and being overly cautious, remember that the guy in the video could be you. Argentina, a delivery man stops to deliver an order, leaving him completely exposed. And out of nowhere, but pay attention because it's not going to end the way you think. The victim seems to recognize one of the criminals. Indeed, it was someone he knew, and they immediately return his motorcycle and everything he stole. I don't know what worries me more, that he was lucky enough not to be robbed, or the bad luck of having friends with a predilection for other people's things. Buenos Aires, famous Argentine motovlogger Bike Life Motovlogs hears a disturbing sound coming from his Bajaj Domina 400 and along with two friends, pulls over to the side of the highway to find out what happened, unaware they were about to be victims of a robbery. When you rob a YouTuber, you usually get unparalleled image quality. I'll leave you with what happened.
Llévatela, llévatela, llévatela. Llévatela, está toda la llave puesta, llévatela. Llévatela.
Impressive images. The impunity in Argentina and Latin America in general is shocking. Two men on a Honda Tornado appear driving the wrong way in broad daylight, in front of thousands of witnesses, speeding at full speed, trying to surprise the motorcyclists. In the process, they almost fall down. First, they go for the BMW S1000RR, steal the owner's Shui helmet, and then he realizes he doesn't have the key, so they go for the Kawasaki Z400 and also steal the owner's helmet and gloves. Check this out. The criminal begins to position the passenger seat to steal the entire motorcycle, which was already outside because they used their tools. But he realizes he doesn't have the keys either, so they go after the Domina 400, which he did have, and in the process they steal his gloves. Later, the subjects throw away the camera that was mounted on the Domina, and the owner is able to recover it. Since the owner was well known and spread the images, the criminals abandoned the motorcycle days later, and the police were able to recover it intact. Without a doubt, one of the most shocking filmed robberies on YouTube.
Ellos sí pudieron ver.
¿Qué hace? ¿Qué hace? ¿Qué hace?
Por robar la moto. Querían robar la moto, la dejaron tirada, boludo.
Guarda que dan la vuelta.
Guarda, que dan la vuelta.
Sí, guarda que dan la vuelta. Empezamos.
Boludo, se la tiró a la mierda. Ya se la había llevado. Ya se la había llevado, boludo. Qué hijos de puta que son. Están robando de banda, tengan cuidado.
Mexico. Russian YouTuber Nastrashno was traveling when he was suddenly robbed by two criminals. What they didn't know is that everything is also documented with 360 cameras. Look. a very similar case to the previous one. The protagonist stops for a moment and is hit by two criminals who want to steal his motorcycle, with gunfire included. The problem is, they didn't know they were messing with a Russian, a country where firearms are commonplace. The guy scares off the criminals, who, without even getting closer than a meter, make them afraid to put them in first gear and escape with all their belongings. Thanks to the terrible aim of the armed man, he lived to tell the tale and managed to thwart the robbery. After reporting everything to the police, he even returned to the scene and managed to recover his phone, which he had lost in the race.
Aquí está. Oh, genial. Lo encontramos.
Another happy ending. Unfortunately, this case is very difficult to avoid if you don't know the area and know it's dangerous to stop. The subject's appearance betrays their intentions. In Latin America, if you don't prejudge, you'll be robbed. In all South American countries, criminals on motorcycles look like the ones in the video. It's a common denominator. If you go to South America, remember these individuals' appearance and be 100% suspicious. Buenos Aires, Argentina. The protagonist is driving his BMW along the Pan American Highway with two dash cameras, one in front and one in back. These cameras record everything that happens. An enduro motorcycle with two criminals on it is approaching at full speed from behind. How impressive. The passenger almost falls off the motorcycle and collides with the car on the left. The suspects try to turn off the motorcycle, but the BMW owner manages to struggle and escape. He was very lucky, as these attacks are unpredictable. Unfortunately, there are areas and times where riding certain types of motorcycles puts you in constant danger. Buenos Aires, Argentina. La Plata police, mounted on BMW F850 GS, begin an intense chase. The target, a minor fleeing without a helmet on an unlicensed Bajaj Domina 400. On the radio, they hear reports that the motorcycle is stolen. At the beginning of the escape, the criminal was with an accomplice who, in a sudden turn, threw himself off the moving motorcycle and managed to escape running between the cars.
Esto es La Plata.
Calle de tierra.
The minor, without hesitation, continues accelerating as if nothing had happened. The thief escapes without problems on the Indian motorcycle, as if he were on asphalt. Will he be able to do it? Look at how they speed, dodging cars, pedestrians, and puddles of water. The criminal shows no signs of wanting to stop, but the officers have him in their sights. The speeds motorcycles reach in the middle of the neighborhood are incredible. A slight mistake could end in disaster. Be careful. The criminal skids into an intersection and miraculously doesn't fall. He mounts the curb and gains an advantage. A risky move, but it works. minor knows how to brake. He makes the BMW go by on a corner, locks the Bajaj to the floor, and once again gains distance. He seems to know the terrain perfectly. The chase was long, but just as it gets more intense, the newscast broadcasting it decides to cut the video. Just like that, without explanation, it seems that viewers got bored because it wasn't getting good ratings. Although they say they caught him in the end, but unfortunately we can't verify this. Peru. A man was talking on the phone when another man on a KTM Duke attacked him from close range. The victim's reaction and the strength to throw him off a moving motorcycle are impressive. The thief's impunity is also impressive, riding freely on a clearly illegal motorcycle on the sidewalk. In the end, they caught him. The thief had 10 reports, but the courts immediately exonerated him, claiming he didn't steal an item expensive enough to warrant punishment. What do you think about this? Leave them in the comments.
Déjenlo en los comentarios.
Argentina. A BMW owner escapes from 2 motorcycle thieves. Its AS1000R drag race bike, without traction control and tuned to go faster than its factory 200 horsepower allows. An uncontrollable machine. Pay attention to what's going to happen. Listen to this chilling fact. One of the shots they heard hit the coolant hose, inches from the owner's leg, who later found it lodged there at home. We don't know if the fall was due to excess fluid in the rear tire or a lack of grip on the dirty streets of Buenos Aires. The police are beginning an investigation because the incident was recorded. They began investigating the Instagram account where the criminals displayed the stolen motorcycles as trophies, and after a search, they found the 2 from the video. How did they do it? For several objects that appear in the video which they had in the house. The Vertigo helmet, the Nike sneaker, the Nike jacket, the ring on the ring finger, and the eyes. One was 19 years old and the other 20. There are neighborhoods so dangerous and hot, like in this video, that you could end up dead from using a motorcycle like this. The solution is sad and simple. Don't ride such flashy motorcycles in such dangerous neighborhoods. In Buenos Aires, Argentina, there are very few kilometers where you can ride safely in the city, and they're getting fewer. If you like the inclusion of videos of robberies and how to avoid them, let me know in the comments and I'll post more in the next video. Brazil. SD Marcelo is chasing a fugitive on his Honda 300 Rally, riding a Honda Titan, who disobeyed the order to stop. Everything can change in a matter of seconds. There's no margin for error here. Any movement can determine everything. The fugitive's motorcycle has no mirrors, turn signals, or parking lights. chase reaches 130 kilometers per hour. Does this Titan have nitro? How tense. It seems something serious is about to happen. He uses a very dangerous maneuver. He gets in front of him and tries to stop him. It's incredible how the fugitive handles it. Not just anyone can do this, you have to be cool. Miraculously, he manages to do it. Turned out he didn't have the correct papers, but he was the owner. He took all the necessary administrative measures, but the attempt to escape ended up costing him more than stopping and accepting the lack of up-to-date documentation. The crime doesn't stop. The chase continues on his Yamaha XT660, following this guy on the same motorcycle who's about to play a trick on him. It was a trap. He never thought he'd stop. Did you hear the tires? The officer almost continued on that curve. But it's not the only time this will happen. The officer explains that he has a problem with the front brake. His right lever has lost pressure, and he can only brake with the rear brake. The third time, by this point, the officer accepts that the chase will be without the front brake, which is incredibly dangerous. Look at the speed he's going, risking his life to stop the fugitive. Do you dare to do something crazy like this? Despite everything, the fugitive doesn't get away. He's there, and he knows it. Unfortunately, the police officer cuts the video and then starts filming, and all we can see is this.
Parou! 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 Eita!
Did you see that? The crazy guy got on a motorcycle that was passing by.
Opa, o Mário, no pinote, no Mário, Mário aí! Deita aí!
It's a shame the video is cut so short, but in the end we see him caught and his motorcycle hijacked. It was definitely an impressive chase. This case is incredible. Look, a subject passes in front of the police team at full speed, covering the license plate of his Honda Titan. The police see him and begin the chase. He manages to get a big advantage over them, but the police are driving a Honda 300 Rally, and they trust in his ability and engine to catch up with him. Pay attention, the first one is coming. The guy thinks he's the Valentino Rossi of the favela, and he skids around the curve, but he can't turn and almost crashes into the wall. jump he hits is incredible, he doesn't even flinch. He covers his license plate again. Is he provoking the officers? He finally gives up. The subject had all the papers up to date and was the owner. His objective was simply to outwit the officers so that when they stop him, they see that he has everything in order. If you thought this was going to be free, you were wrong. You received an $850 fine for all the grace, but you will surely know someone who will prevent you from paying it.
cabeça.
The best? You haven't seen it yet. Choose one of these two videos. Both will captivate you, but one will obsess you. Do it now, and let it surprise you.